Welcome back to Texas Boxing Scene. I'm here with Houston native, Austin resident, we'll call him Isaiah Cason, who has a really interesting backstory. Uh, he's supposed to fight this week in Houston. That fell through. Opponent fell out. Isaiah, introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself.
I'm Isaiah Cason, but most people know me as JoJo or JoJo Shark in boxing. I was originally born in Houston, but I live here in Austin, Texas since I was a kid. I was raised by my grandparents. I started boxing at the age of 5. A little interesting fact about me, I'm 75% blind. I was completely blind as a child, but it developed, and now I'm 75% blind. I've been boxing since I was 5. I started competing in the amateurs at 7 years old, and I'm 19 years old now.
So I want to ask you two questions about that. First, like obviously you were born blind, and then now you've got some vision. What
Right.
was that like? I mean, when could you like? When did you start being able to see a little bit, and then what was that realization like? What was like being able to see for the first time?
Uh, Interesting little story, which is kind of funny. I was told from my grandparents, well, because I couldn't really see anything, only just like hear, um, that my grandfather, when he took me in from my father, he used to always pray over me, like put his hands
Yeah.
over my eyes and pray over me uh, to try to get my vision better. Because he said when I was in school or like pre-K, I used to like hold the wall when I was walking because I was blind. So he used to always pray over my eyes and uh, eventually I started to open them and get more vision. I can guess you can say that was a miracle.
Yeah, God, God is amazing. That's an incredible story right there.
Right.
I gotta ask you, boxing is obviously the most violent of sports. It's for gladiators in the arena.
Right.
Most people don't have the balls to do it with full vision.
Right.
What made you want to do the sport with being 75% blind? I mean, what brings you into the sport? It's such a dangerous sport with such limited vision.
That's a tough question. So my grandfather was originally already a boxing coach.
Mm-hmm.
He served in the military, and we had uncles who were already professionals and did like amateur boxing, professional boxing, and kickboxing as well. So he was already kind of a coach, and he brought me and my brother Nathaniel, into the gym. My brother's older than me, like 2 years. He brought us in the gym. I said I started at 5, and I boxed at 5. He was a little older then, but he started at 4. And he saw us hitting the bags, and I guess from there, once he saw us punching on the bags at a young age, we he developed us and kept us going in the sport, and we just kind of got stuck with it. And from there, we continued on with him training us for years.
So I want to ask you, getting into the sport, with your vision, is it disable you in other ways? I mean, can you drive? Does it handicap you in other ways? Are there like normal everyday things that most people do that your vision kind of prohibits you from doing?
There's a lot I can't do and things I can do to most of my ability, depending on if I try or not, or if I'm able or capable. Right now, I currently don't drive. Uh,
Okay.
I don't know if that's a possibility unless I get eye surgery again. I'm not really sure about that, but I probably won't be able to drive. And like I said, unless I get eye surgery, or that might not work at all. Um, it's difficult. Some things I couldn't do, like school work with kids. I couldn't really read as much because I would have to have my work ear blown up. And back then in school, it was a little difficult, you know. And
Yeah.
being different from everyone, I wasn't really taught, perfectly at school because I never really got to work around with everyone. I was different, so it's kind of like the outcast of the kid. So growing up blind and albino was just a little difficult, and it still has its perks and disadvantages to this day. Still not being able to see stuff or staying in the sun too long because I can get sunburn easily, and if that develops too much, I can get sun cancer really easily. So
Yeah.
it has a lot of perks and ups and downs, which it's scary a bit. But I try to walk through it like everyday life and try to act like I'm a normal human being, just like everybody else.
So I mean, in the boxing gym, and I want to get to your amateur career just a little bit, but like, do you do the same what everyone else does, or are the workouts kind of tailored to you, or do you just do what everyone else in the gym does?
Um, once again, from my grandma or grandfather, where he trained us, he was very hard on us, as you
Yeah.
know, when it came to like working, because we're he tried to grow us up into men. So he was very hard on me, and my brother, whether it was coming to like yard work or training. So he stayed on us about that constantly. So being in a kid's perspective and working so hard at a young age, of course it was difficult. Not everything we got done right or did things perfectly. We weren't always, the best, fighters or kids at a young age. You learn when you get older. It was difficult, but for me, from doing that for so many years, I can say I'm very definitely a capable athlete of doing certain things that others can't do who don't have disabilities or who do have disabilities. So for years of that, I can say I definitely improved on that athletic wise.
That's fascinating. So, talk to me. You saw boxing at 5. When do you have your first amateur fight?
It was supposed to be at 8, but my grandfather snuck me in at 7.
Okay.
Yeah, so he made a little, a white lie and told him I was 8, but I was 7. He put me against a 12-year-old for my first fight, and it was very difficult. Being in sparring and training is definitely different than being in actual ring, which people need to understand about boxing. You can train your butt off, but when it comes to a fight, it's a little different. The pressure is a little different. The nerves are there, especially being blind. It was complicated. My first fight, man, I was all over the place. To be honest, I was falling down so much. I was rushing into my opponent. It was a bunch of nerves and also that I couldn't see. So I did it to my best of my ability. It was definitely a fun learning experience. I didn't get the win because once again, first fight I fought a guy who was way older than me. uh, I was still learning, and it was pretty difficult. But I did what I could, to the best of my ability. My next fight, I fought at the same place and did better, and got a very great win. And I developed from there and kept going from there. And I kept stacking up wins after wins after wins.
So before we got Nathaniel on. But before I bring him in, talk to me a little bit about your amateur career, your record, accomplishments, achievements. Talk about your amateur career a little bit.
Um, my amateur career, I currently stand at like 58 fights or 59, with about 12 losses. So about 13 losses, 12 to
About
13 losses.
37 and 12 ish in that area.
Yeah. So, um, I've accomplished a bit. I won Stamina Staba Championship, 2023. I fought nationals my first time 2 years ago. I got pretty decent, like the second, third round in nationals. Um, I just want to accomplish by winning a championship in nationals. That's my goal. Is actually winning a championship in a division where it's 132 or 143. That's my biggest goal. I've had some ups and downs. When I fought in the Staba Championship, I fought there once and I lost, and then I came back 2 years and fought again. And this is where I had a job. I was taking care of my grandfather because he had a stroke. I went with my coach Rico to Staba Championship, and this is in between having a job of caretaking for my grandfather. I won the championship and got my revenge for like 2 years ago. Came back and found out that my grandfather, who's been my dad and training me for years, um, had a week left to live, and that was my job to take care of him as well. So having my first job and coming back off of a layoff of boxing and finally coming back and getting a big win and then finding out he had a week left to live was it was heartbreaking. It pushed me back again. It was like another setback. But technically he died the next day, so it was very hard. I still fought a bit after that, and then I fell into an even bigger state of depression. So I took some time off, came back, got in the gym, and got back in shape.
I want to bring I want to bring Nathaniel in now.
Hello,
Yeah, a little. Yeah, that's good.
hello,
You're good.
hello.
How's it going, Nathaniel? Introduce yourself. And tell us what you got going on.
My name is Nathaniel Bonner, aka Nate Dogg. I'm from Austin, Texas, born in Houston. I'm headed to the gym right now. Literally about to be at the gym with my brother, but I'm about 5 minutes away, but how y'all doing?
Good. You got Nate Dogg and you got G. Like, look at that. Look at that.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna regulate things up in here.
All right.
I was just speaking to Isaiah. I want to get your story too. I know you're a couple of years older. You've had a pro fight. You've had some time off. Talk us through the start of your career as an amateur, and then what you've been going through the last couple of years.
You talking about JoJo or me?
You.
I'm talking. Oh, sorry, Nathaniel. Nathaniel. You.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that again one more time?
Yeah, just talk about your start in boxing and your amateur career, and then like what made you decide it was time to turn pro. Because I know you turned pro very young.
Yes. I had not about 90, 80 fights, amateur fights. I didn't win all of them. I had a lot of losses. Like I would say probably 8 to 10. I feel like I was one of the best in Austin in amateur. I turned pro at 19, I believe, and I took a break from boxing before I turned pro, and I felt like I was just ready to turn pro. It just felt like amateur wasn't it no more.
You turned pro. What was it? 2021.
I believe 2021. Yes, sir.
2021. You didn't have an easy fight. It didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. But talk about that experience. You fought Nathaniel Perez in Austin, right at the City Coliseum there. I believe.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that fight and that experience.
Yes, sir. The fight, the experience was amazing. It felt like I was floating up in there. It felt amazing. Yeah, I was like, yeah, boxing is definitely something to do. But the fight, I didn't like the fight. I didn't like how the fight went, and I just felt like I boxed them more. I probably ain't have more aggression, but I definitely did outbox them, and they ended up robbing me, giving the dude the win. But it was okay.
That was in Austin. I was at that card. I was there.
What?
Yeah.
What you seen?
I'm trying to remember. I remember the fight because I remember the name. I'm not remembering the details of the fight.
I had the purple shorts on.
I remember. I'm trying to remember who I thought won the fight. I remember the fight. I absolutely. That's why when he said, I know that name. Why do I know that name? I looked it up. It was in Austin. Hector Coronado fought on the card. I remember the card. Card. It was I wish I could be more helpful. Like this is a couple years ago. I'm kind of blanking on the details. Crazy. Yeah. This was it was the boxing showcase, Christopher Montez, and I remember the card. Like, wow, that was
Okay.
So 4 years ago, what have you been doing in the interim, and what got you remotivated in boxing?
Man, I seen my little brother, the way he been going hard in the gym, and then I just thought about like this. I've been doing boxing my whole life, so why just give it up and quit it? And I got skill, talent, I got everything that a boxer got, And for me to just walk away from it like that easily over like a loss that I wouldn't say I lost. I was like, nah, let me come back. Let me show one loss ain't finna stop me. Let me show the world.
Marquez lost his first fight, Bernard Hopkins lost his first fight. A lot of people lost their first fight.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I remember Bernard Hopkins telling a story where he lost his first fight, and his wife goes, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And Hopkins like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good." And his wife's like, "If you're good, why'd you lose your first fight?" It's like, what worked out for Hopkins? Yeah.
And me the wife, man.
I want
the same question.
You're not fighting an easy guy. You fight another rugged opponent. What do you know about your opponent, and how have you prepared for that fight, which is just now like 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away?
Yes, about 2 weeks away.
2 weeks away.
2 weeks out. But I don't know, man. I haven't seen no footage on him. I just looked at his record. I seen who he fought. I seen the age group he got his W's over. I just feel like I'm young, fast, and I'm bigger. I'm coming. I'm bigger. I walk around. You know what I'm saying? Some that's way bigger than the fight weight that I'm fighting at, and I just feel like he's not gonna be able to handle that. That's young, speed, in and out. You know what I'm saying? Footwork, everything.
I wanna ask you about that. Jose Elizondo is the opponent. What weight is the fight at?
130.
130. He's a guy that's well known in that area. He's fought everyone. He's gone up and down the weights. He's fought at 118. He's fought as high as 135. He's fought all over the place.
hmm
But focusing on you,
hmm
what's your style and how has camp gone for you?
Camp so far is great. Camp so far is great. Right now we're gonna get this sparring in after this interview, but camp right now is great. I feel light. I feel fast, sharp. Man, I feel untouchable. I feel
For
untouchable.
those for those of you who haven't seen you in the ring before, how would you describe your style in the ring? Like, what kind of fighter are you?
Um, a counter boxer. I'll say a counter boxer. Uh, I got a great jab. Um, man, fast, fast. You always see a lot of speed, a lot of speed. Power too. I feel like my power has developed from the last time I fought in pros.
Oh, it's been 3-4 years. You're physically stronger now. Obviously, you're a grown man now. You're not 19. You're not a teenager. You're
hmm
a grown man. And I wanted to ask you, being around your brother, everything that he has to go through, has that added motivation for you? Like if my brother's doing this when he can only see a little bit, like is that I can do this?
Yeah,
Does your brother give you extra motivation?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. JoJo, Isaiah, I call him JoJo. I known him from JoJo, but Isaiah, yes, Isaiah, like, man, boy, I tell you, when I just be thinking about it, sometimes I'll be like, man, he's half blind and still whooping on guys. You you, you can't brag about that. Oh man, I lost. The dude was pretty good, and then they sit there and say, he was half blind. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? In the ring, still doing his thing. So that JoJo definitely did motivate me, and for him to still continue after like he said, our grandpa passed, and for him to take care of our grandpa because I wasn't at the home at the time, but for him to do all that and still go through boxing, JoJo is strong. JoJo got a strong heart, just mentally strong, and man, I hope the best for JoJo career.
Jojo, when you hear your brother speak of you like that, when you've motivated him, how does that make you feel as a fighter and as a little brother?
It definitely boosts my confidence and my abilities as a fighter. Like I said, not everything I can see what everybody else can see. There's still things I need to work on myself wise, and it's just great seeing my older brother, who I've always looked up to, until he stopped boxing. Finally get back in it and avenge what he did 2 years ago. It honestly it brings joy to finally see him do that after me struggling for so many years to find what I want to do and get in the ring and been in and out back in and out the gym. So seeing him making a comeback and being so excited about this, it makes me anxious, nervous at the same time because it's been so long since I've seen him in an actual professional ring. But I've been watching his sparring. He looks great. He's getting in great shape. Like I said, it's just more motivation to me. He's inspiring me because he's older. Like I said, this is the guy I looked up to when I was a kid. So it's an honor to see him back in the ring again.
Now, I asked you, brother, about his style in the ring. How would you describe your style in the ring? What kind of fighter are you? Are you similar to your brother, or do you have your own style?
Um, I can say I leave a mark in the ring, whether it's a good day or a bad day for me. Basically, what I'm trying to say is um, I'm special with my abilities. Like I'll leave arena whether I lose a fight or win or lose a spar. Like getting a good action sparring and that doesn't go my way. Someone's gonna definitely say something about, man, that kid got talent. That kid's amazing. He has special abilities and talent that you just got to bring out of him. I can definitely say I'm more of a back then when I was a kid. I was more of a just fighter, straightforward, because I would try to get to my opponent I couldn't see. That was I'm learning how to box, more carefully now, to develop actually how to box as a boxer instead of just always going in there rushing in. So I'm trying to learn off of him and other fighters as well. I can say I'm just a balanced out, great amateur fighter, and I'm gonna keep developing skills and talent, my talent.
We talked about your brother's fight. You were supposed to have a fight this upcoming weekend. That got called off. What was your response, your reaction? I mean, that happens in boxing. It's part of the business. Fights fall out. What was your reaction? And do you have anything else coming up? Is there a new date in mind?
It was a bit, kind of strange because it was like last minute. It was supposed to be at 143, and I've been losing weight, training for it, getting ready, and I was excited because it was in my hometown, Houston, and the family was supposed to show up. I couldn't wait to put on a show. It's my first time back after a year off. Like I said, I took some time off. I was going through a lot mentally, so I'm trying to bring myself out of it, and it was going to be a great fight, but I took the news okay. I can't say too much complaining or too much excitement at the same time. I mean, I finally got to put some food in my system. I got to eat again, so that was good. After this, I just kind of, we move on from it. It happens. Fighters pull out. Things happen. We move on to bigger and better things. So right now, we're just getting ready to do Vegas for the national summer festival in Vegas, for amateur boxing. So that's my next goal. If anything else comes up between then, we're going to be definitely looking out for it and looking to compete in any other shows around Texas. But my biggest goal is to do the one in Vegas in June. That's when my birthday is. So
So you're gonna stay amateur for a while? You're gonna keep having amateur fights until something else pops up?
um, I'm a state amateur for a minute. I want to, like I said, my biggest goal is to try to get a national championship. Like that's what I want to accomplish, especially since I'm half blind. That would be a cool to say a blind guy won nationals. I want to achieve something, or maybe I might look forward into doing the Olympics and say the first blind guy fought in the Olympics. I want to achieve big goals. I want my name to be out there, people to know like this kid's been through a bunch of struggles, but he still pushes forward. We have good days, we have bad days, whether it's in sparring, fights, or training. But we just keep pushing forward from our goal, and I'm hoping to get it this year and win nationals at the end of December in 2025.
Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I want to bring it back to Nathaniel real quickly. You got to fight, like I said, on May 10th in San Antonio. Second pro fight, first fight in 3-4 years, whatever it's been. What's your plan and what's your blueprint to get back to where you're supposed to be?
My plan is after I get this W, continue to stay active. I want to stay active. I want every time I got to fight, I don't want butterflies. I don't want to, I don't know how this going to go. I just want to be comfortable in the ring. I definitely want to get at least, I would say this year it's already halfway in the year. I definitely do want to get at least 2-3 more. Hopefully 2, for sure 2. But 2-3 more, build the record, and then we, take it from there.
Are you gonna stay at 130? Is that your best weight? Or
130.
what's the plan there?
130. I feel great. I feel like 130 is gonna be the new division for me. And yeah.
30 is a loaded weight class. I look forward to getting able to see you fight. Like I said, you got a difficult fight and not an easy opponent. Veteran of 15 fights. Like he's been around. We've seen him around San Antonio a lot. A lot of cards. Give us your predictions and your thoughts on that fight.
Man, all I'm saying is if he come in and think he's got him an easy fight, he better do some research. Man, I just feel like he's not gonna touch me. If he touch me, I'm gonna touch him up too. You know, the power I got, I feel like the power that I developed over the years is
It's
crazy.
insane.
I didn't have the same power at 19. This is power, man, that sit people down and probably leave you home with a concussion. You
There
know,
you go.
I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but the speed there, Ben had the speed, so I'm just, man, in 8 ounces, it's all gonna show that night. But I just see myself just boxing him until he, you know what I'm saying, until he slug fast, I'm slug right out and get out. I'm gonna get mine and get out. I just don't see it, you know what I'm saying, 4 rounds of his way. So that's how I see it.
We're looking forward to it. Jojo, Isaiah, how's your brother gonna do? And are you gonna be there to cheer him on? You gonna be at the fight?
I'm gonna be in the corner. Like I said,
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you're
Yes.
in the corner. Nice.
yeah.
Yes.
I can't. Like I said, I can't wait to see this fight. Like I said, I've been waiting about 2 to 3 years to see him get that. Like I said, that redemption back. I've talked to him about it. I told him, hey, like man, I want to see that redemption back. You know, whether you decide it's only one fight or whatever he does with his career, because that's his choice. But I just always wanted to see him, revenge that loss. I told him you could have did better, and I felt like that wasn't needed. But I'm very excited. I expect the TKO. I expect to stop him.
That's
I
what we
expect
expect.
I expect him to do his best, like I said, to put on a show, and like how he says, to show everybody who he is. They call him the dog for a reason. So I expect him to go out there and bark. I go out there and go take that other canine out. I expect him to do his job.
Looking forward to it, guys. Wrap this up. Tell them where they can find you on social media.
They can find me on Instagram at boxyet, lowercase box, and then YETT512. Follow me on Instagram.
And you can
And
follow
Nathaniel?
me on the same thing, Instagram, ICCEY.1. Facebook, Nathaniel Nate Dogg Bonner. Yeah.
Appreciate it. And looking forward to it. Hopefully, I plan on being there on May 10th, so hopefully I get to meet you guys then.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully we see you
Appreciate
there.
you guys. From
Yes, sir.
Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
All right.
God bless. See you guys.